Matthews is the first leap ever to go 0 to 60 in a single season.
In this video, we will walk you through things you didn't know about NHL players with Auston Matthews in focus. NHL players merely can't attract sponsorship more than other star athletes do. Do you know that Auston's younger sister Brianna is one of the highest paid golfers, or Auston's nickname? So, let's start with a video and know everything about him. The 25-year-old Edmonton Oilers center finished first within the NHL in points last season with 123. However, passed over on winning a third Hart Trophy as the league's most valuable player, and the provincial capital Maple Leafs' Auston Matthews claimed his first. Matthews is coming back off a 60-goal season that attained him a historic Hart Trophy, as solely the second U.S.-born player ever to win Most Valuable Player, and therefore the first Maple Leaf to say their respect since 1955. The 25-year-old center is hierarchical under number appear on the earnings list over the last 3 seasons, and he could before long jump into the territory. He's set to hit representation in 2024. Matthews is flashy on the ice and off it, and is one of the few NHL personalities who have captured the eye of marketers, putting 10 partnerships together with recent deals with hat distributor Lidson Edge Theory Labs that makes a cold plunge tub. In Feb, he became the primary active NHL player to sign with a gambling company, adding Bet99 as a sponsor. From knees to concussions to cancer to automobile accidents, some nice NHL players have had their careers completely untimely. Despite career-ending injuries and chronic conditions, simply imagine what they might have accomplished if health and luck had been on their side. Separate colored uniforms. As NHL fans, some of you must have wondered why referees wear striped shirts or groups got to wear different colors. Well, NHL has a whole history to answer that question. Hockey uniforms were straightforward among the youth. Since most players compete in soccer only during that time of the year, they merely borrowed these pants for hockey games. Additionally, a turtleneck sweater to remain warm beside some knee-high socks. With solely a combined total of 14 players concerned, there was no use for different uniforms. It was pretty straightforward for players to grasp who is playing for whom. The situation took a turn as groups of different leagues began to play one another, and they typically wore a constant uniform, as within 1920. Stanley Cup Final, when the PCUHL champions from Seattle had similar uniforms to Ottawa, the Ottawa set to wear white jerseys. Hence, the downside was resolved. In 1933, the Detroit Red Wings chose the color of their new uniforms, and surprisingly, they were the same as the Montreal Canadiens. Once the groups initially met in the urban center, confusion spread all over the ground. So as a solution, the Wings were forced to wear white covers. They coded up the players' numbers, angering the fans attending in addition to trying and looking stupid. Thus began the controversy regarding the colors utilized by groups throughout games. Because of the increasing variety of show newsreels being made from the action, the NHL needed every team to wear different colors to make it easier for viewers to differentiate the groups throughout the black and white broadcasts on their big old black and white TVs. The home team would wear dark and the traveler team wore white. The Urban Center Canadiens square measure, the foremost recognizable team within the NHL with their red, white, and blue sweaters with the CH on the front. This uniform had stripy lines like the barber poles of the Ottawa Senators, and the blue letters CAC or Club Athletique Canadien on a white maple leaf. Enough chit-chat about things you didn't know about NHL. Now let's talk about one of the most renowned NHL players of all time, Auston Matthews. Family. Let's begin by talking about what brings Auston Matthews into this world, shall we? Matthews' mother Emma was a Mexican. She met Brian Matthews when he was operating for an airline in Los Angeles. The sole language they shared at the time was that of affection. However, he quickly brushed abreast of his Spanish, and therefore, two eventually settled in San Francisco, where Auston was born after older sister Alexandria. The family migrated to Scottsdale, Arizona, when Auston was of 2 months to live close to TPC Scottsdale, the house of the Waste Management Phoenix Open. You'd be surprised to know that Auston's younger sister, Brianna, is one of the highest paid young golfers in the state. The family's got some sporty genes, I must say. Hockey in Phoenix. Hockey in Phoenix turned Matthews into a master player. A dream child of Commissioner Gary Bettman's Southern expansion, Matthews visited his first Phoenix Coyotes game together with his father and Uncle Billy at the age of 2 and commenced taking part 4 years later. His uncle inspired him to play sports, and he learned the sport at the now shuttered Aussie Ice. Aussie Ice was known to be a facility that was the showcase of oil businessman Dwayne Osadchuk's new artificial ice technology. The two rinks weren't a lot larger than the proverbial telephone box you will currently stick handle in, and every game was 3-on-3. The non-traditional position didn't hinder his growth. At 15, Matthews had 55 goals and 100 points in 48 games for the AAA Arizona Bobcats before turning into the U.S. In 2014-15, he scored 55 goals and 117 points to break the program record set by St. Patrickane in 2005-06. He learned with blades from behind the ideological barrier via Mexico. Boris Doroshenko fled the country once it was a part of the land and located himself in Mexico, serving to build a fledgling national hockey program. He met Brian Matthews at a hockey camp in Arizona when Auston was 7. The two used Spanish as a medium to communicate. Eventually, Doroshenko left Mexico and moved in with Brian's folks in Arizona while coaching a team run by ex-NHL player Claude Lemieux. Doroshenko's unorthodox power skating drills included running, stomping, and spinning. Arena operators scorned it, and oldsters were confused. However, the results, together with his young pupils, spoke for themselves. They traveled to international tournaments along with Auston, often taking part in Ukrainian groups at Boris Doroshenko. This marked the beginning of the unveiling of Auston's talents to the world. Auston's nickname. Brian was a pitcher at Loyola Marymount in Los Angeles and hoped Auston would head down an equivalent base path as he and his father. Auston's nickname is Poppy. David Ortiz of the Beantown Red Sox, his favorite player growing up, is the inspiration for sporting number 34. Even supposing his father thought he was higher at baseball, the game was too slow for Auston and he chose to concentrate on hockey. He was really into baseball because his dad and grandpa played it growing up. He enjoyed hitting the most and that was his strong suit. He enjoyed catching as well. It's kind of different because usually in hockey, it's his dad who takes him to the pond, but it's a little different coming from Arizona. His dad played baseball in college. He did enjoy baseball and it was certainly something he liked to play, but hockey would become his #1 passion. Football additionally ran in his family. Auston's great-grandfather coached at Muskogee Central High School in Oklahoma, and his uncle Wes played 4 times as wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins when obtaining a deferral from Vietnam to hitch the team. Coming from a highly athletic family, it's understandable why Auston had to go through a great deal of confusion before choosing his main sport. Swiss Master. Auston Matthews is also sometimes referred to as the Swiss Master, and here's why. While an overwhelming majority of North Yak prospects find themselves at school or major junior hockey programs, Matthews took his abilities to the European nation to play for CSC Lions of the National League A, wherever Stanley Cup winning coach Mark Crawford was at the helm. Just 2 days before the 2015 draft eligibility, Matthews was selected to play the 2015-16 season with men in Europe rather than with the WHL's Everett Silvertips. With his older sister and mother in Zurich cooking him his favorite chicken griddle cake soup, he had 24 goals and 46 points in 36 games for CSC, the very best in league history for a player under the age of 20. He won the league's Rising Star honor and finished second in Most Valuable Player option. Judging by his incredible achievements in the field, it's justified to call Matthews a teenage success. Passionate follower of fashion. The fans would be glad to know that Auston Matthews expresses interest in fashion. Matthews picked up a watch for fashion in a European nation and counts actor-architect DiCaprio and Russell Westbrook of the state capital. Thunder, his favorite NBA team, is a Vogue influence. His first huge purchase as an expert contestant was a Rolex Sailor, and his favorite brands are Square Measure Gucci, Off-White, Givenchy, and prize-fighter Vuitton. The high-end retailers on Toronto's Make Mile would possibly wish to remain open a bit later for him, currently that he's signed a profitable extension. Homeboy likes to walk in style. Toronto's new bringer of rain. Matthews set a record with 4 goals in his NHL debut and hasn't extremely taken his foot off the gas since coming to the league, his first in 5-on-5 goals, and solely Alexander Ovechkin has additional goals per game with a minimum of 100 games played. So that's all we had in store and for you today. Do tell us if you know more things about NHL players and Auston Matthews in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for more such intriguing videos.